I did it! I finally won a trade! Today I made $2,541.78, and this is exactly how. Going into the day, it was really quite simple. I was bullish until proven wrong, except it's not as peaches and rainbows here, jackass. There was a lot of low resistance liquidity to the sell side. So I did not like this. I said, but let me tell you exactly why I ended up taking a long today and why I disregarded the high time frame LRL. Whoo, that's a hookup I've ever heard of one. So this is what happened. Going into the day, right, we had respected a 1 hour intermediate low, right? We respected a 1 hour fair value gap, and we honestly had a really good wick. I saw this. Not only did I see this, but I also saw that we had around 300 points to go to this 4 hour intermediate low, which really did not need to get traded back to be honest. So I wasn't super worried about it, but here was the solidifying factor on why I ended up taking the most beautiful long of the century, I'm telling you. So what happened? Well, market opened and we shit the damn bed. You have a wake up from a dream and you shit the bed. And so what happened? Well, we manipulated into a 1 hour fair value gap, but then we ended up chopping around like crazy, right? So at this point, I was like, okay, we're chopping around. We're about to create a 5-minute right above us. We might be bearish, bro. We might be bearish towards the high resistance or the low resistance on the high time frame, but we'll have to see. And then what happened, Clay baby, Cash baby? What happened, maybe? That happened, bro. That happened right here. Now, let me tell you why this was the most beautiful trade in all of the land. Well, notice, for one, we have a bunch of low resistance liquidity right here. Not only that, right, but we created a 5-minute fair value gap at 940. So not only, like at this point, right, at 940, not only do we have a shit ton of LRL, right? But now we've also created a 5-minute fair value gap, which is another way, another draw, another target, another priority, another confluence, another something that price wants to hit. And this is called stacking probability in your favor, right? So that's exactly what I did. I stacked probability in my favor. I waited for the setup of my dreams. Now, I will be honest, right here, I ain't even finna hold you, fam. I ain't even finna cap on you, bro. I did see this 15-minute or this 15-second, and I low-key really liked it. I really liked it. We had the 1 hour fair value gap. We had the inversion right here on the 15-minute. But the reason why I didn't like it was because I honestly felt like, bro, this is falling knife structure, right? It is really big displacement. The retracements are not that good. It doesn't look like LRL, especially you go on the 1 minute, bro. And this is something I learned, and this is a great lesson, y'all. You cannot, and this is for a 30-second trade, let alone a 15-second. You cannot take a 30-second trade if the 1 minute structure is buns doo-doo caca, bro. And I wrote that down word for word, bar for bar in my journal. If it is doo-doo caca, whatever, bro, I'm not taking the damn trade. So that's why I faded this 15-second. Also, that is not a 30-second inversion. Otherwise, honestly, that would have been really appealing. And I probably would have pulled that shit and I would have gotten railed. But instead, I ended up taking this banger. Now, I love this trade because it marks off literally everything I like. And y'all can write this down. And I have it as my literal freaking wallpaper, bro. I'm not even kidding you. I got Bible verses. I got this as my wallpaper. I literally have my wallpaper as my trading model, bro. So fuck you. I want it more. And praise God, bro. I don't like cursing, man. Shit. Oops. I did it again. You broke my heart. We get a 30-second inversion. It looks beautiful. It's something majestic, bro. It looks like my girlfriend. That's it. End of story, right? So we get the displacement. Not only that, but we have the sweep structure of absolute dreams, bro. Let's put it as blue to highlight it. It looks so beautiful. Now, what looks so good about this, right? A couple things. For one, we manipulated into the fair value gap that was made after the initial manipulation, which is so beautiful. The lowest like the discounted fair value gap, it looks incredible. Not only that, but you have to notice and identify something that I like to call sweep structure, right? And so what do I like so much about sweep structure? What I like about sweep structure is that it shows that price does not want to continue, right? We literally wick into the fair value gap and we immediately distribute all over my face, right? So that's the end of the story. And then I simply took the trade, bro. There's not really much more you can ask for. I went break even at the 4 minute because the 4 minute is something I've realized with my 30-second trades is I really shouldn't be asking for too much. If I have a 30-second inversion play, my break evens can be a little bit quicker because I'm getting in super early, right? So at this point, the 30-second, that's basically bottom ticking at this point. My break even should be quick, not only to protect my capital, but also because we really just shouldn't need to go back, right? So I went break even right here at this point, bro. Stops to break even. And then sure enough, we just go. Now, you might also notice that I really didn't wait. I didn't just do my 1-to-1. Normally, my target would be the 5-minute fair value gap. And if I have to hold over for a 1-to-1, then I'll do that. And that was because I had really high conviction to this 1-hour intermediate high. You can see just based off of this right here, if you look at the 1 hour, or I can just shit everywhere. Like, look at the wicks here. Look at the wicks. The discounted fair value gap gets touched. We get amazing displacement out. And then we really have nothing stopping us until this 1-hour intermediate high. We have the 30-minute right here. But again, just a bunch of LRL. And notice the high time frame of accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? And the what makes a trade so good, and write this down, mother cocksuckers. I shouldn't say that. Is that the high time frame is why your trade wins. The low time frame is just a more precise execution, bro. It is a more precise execution. So what we do is we're right here. It looks beautiful. It looks magnificent, etc., etc. And then we just take the trade, bro. So I had really high conviction. There's no intermediate highs, nothing that should stop price at all until the 1-hour intermediate high. Not to mention, we're literally at all-time highs conditions, bro. This right here is literally all-time highs. So I'm really not worried about it. I take my trade, and I honestly, bro, I'm trying to pass these evals. It's looking beautiful. I blew another set yesterday, as I've mentioned before many of times. And so now I'm on to the new set. I said, okay, what I'm going to do is once we get good displacement past the 1-to-1, I'm just going to trail my stop loss. Ended up trailing my stop loss pretty tight, bro, and got out at about a 1-to-3. I honestly don't know exactly where my TP was. And then there's always, there's some stop loss, stop limit, whatever slippages. So it's nothing to really worry about. Around a 1.3 RR, but either way, it was a banger, and the outcome isn't what matters. What matters is the inputs. I read the market like a book. I stuck my wiener in it with no lubricant, and it did incredible, bro. It was flawless, frictionless, beautiful. Everything you'd want to see from the NASDAQ today. The NASDAQ, it did whatever it wanted to me. But today I lucked out, bro, and I loved it. I loved it. So that is my trade for the day. I honestly hate trading. I don't know why anybody would want to trade because it's so frustrating making so much money in such a little amount of time, bro. 2,500 blah, 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 blah dollars. Doesn't matter. We continue. I'm back. I told you I'm on my villain arch, and it's not ending here. I will be profitable, bro. Pay out by the end of the month, and that's not a target. That's just what I'm telling you, bro. It's called manifestation. Bye.